Okay, welcome back. Gonna be doing some more score chasing on the NES Classic Mini. We're going to be doing the Black Box Mario Bros. Arcade Classics. Current high score 843,330. We are going for that million-point game. But we'll settle for a new high score, although we really want the million-point game, especially now that we've got the million points in Balloon Fight on the NES Classic Mini. And I'm someone that really enjoys having goals, and the idea of getting a million points in one of these Black Box Arcade Classics, I don't know, I think it's cool. So we're about to get, if this bonus round goes well, we'll get over 20,000 points. We will get our first and only extra life. So yeah, to me, there's just something, like, you know, there's all kinds of flexes you want to have as a retro gamer, like being able to, like, for example, like being able to beat Battletoads, I think is a flex, or being able to beat Castlevania 3, that's also a flex. Being able to beat all 6 of the Mega Mans, that's a flex. And, you know, I'm in what I've called numerous times the retro gamer retirement community, or retro gamer retirement home, to where I don't feel the need to play some of the old, you know, classics anymore. Like, I don't feel the need to play the Contras, Castlevanias, or Mega Mans. I will still play some of those games on my channel from time to time, but I am much more happy these days playing the Black Box series. The Black Box series were the games that were considered old by the time most of us got our first NES. So naturally, we all missed out, and these days I just want to score chase. Play some Donkey Kong, whatever, Donkey Kong Jr. But Mario Bros. Is one of my favorite games to score chase. Like, this one is, it is a bit of an interesting score chaser, because take a score chaser like, say, Donkey Kong Jr. or Clu Clu Land or whatever. Those ones, or heck, even Balloon Fight, they're faster. You know, there's a intensity that you have to be prepared for. The game does not... The game speeds up as you play. It gets faster. You have to remain locked in at all times. Mario Bros., this one... You know, don't get me wrong, it does have intense moments, but it's a bit slower paced. You're still racking up points constantly with everything you do. You know, the control is good, but it's kind of up to you what kind of pace you play at. And that's what I think what I like the most about Mario Bros. Alright, so after this bonus round, we'll be... Oh, no. That's alright, plenty of time to get the coins. But after this bonus round, we'll be introduced to the ice enemies, who will freeze the platforms. And like I was just saying, I think, yeah, the fact that I can get the fact that I have on my channel a video of me getting over 1 million points on Balloon Fight, one of the great black box NES games, Score Chasers. I think that's so cool. I think that's a really awesome retro gamer flex. And Mario Bros. Really has become one of my favorite games to score chase because of the methodical pacing. And admittedly, I am going a bit slow on this board. Playing it a bit more conservatively than I normally would. So, what I like about Mario Bros. Is that it is a game that rewards consistency. If you play consistent and you are prepared to improvise, this is a game for you. This is a game that you can do well, rack up a high score on. Alright, we always want to save one punch on the POW block if we can, because it makes for a very... You don't need it often, but every once in a while you'll find yourself in a situation where you are absolutely in need of a quick escape. Alright, so we are over the 100,000 point mark. Still have all our lives. And for you math geniuses out there, because we get 4 lives, we basically want to not lose. We want to have you want to be on a pace where you can get at least 250,000 points per life if you want to be on pace to break the million. But I find that's not often how it works out. Usually it's, you know, I'll lose a life at some point, and then it's that second or third life where I just rack up an insane amount of points. In fact, I didn't mention this, but my high score, 843,000. It was kind of unfortunate. What happened was I lost a life, I want to say around 200,000. And then my second life, I went all the way to 800,000, got 600,000 points on my second life, something like that, and then lost a life just after breaking 800,000, and then was only able to rack up 40,000 points or whatever before taking the game over. It was so disappointing that I wilted like that under the pressure. Anytime I can dominate the middle platform, I feel like I had a good board. For me, that's a good indicator that I am playing consistently. By the way, I have no illusions. I'm not trying to chase a world record or anything like that. I have absolutely no illusions about, you know, where I am. I've seen what the world records in these games look like. They are pretty incredible. In fact, after getting my million-point game in Balloon Fight, I jumped on YouTube to see who else had uploaded a video of them getting a million points. And there were a couple, not as many as you'd think. You know, I'm not suggesting that people can't do it, just the ones that can, I guess not many of them, are uploading their videos on YouTube. But one of the ones that was on YouTube, it was from a gamer called Matthew Eilis, I believe is how to pronounce his last name. He had his world record attempt. It was from 2013, so... Or, excuse me, it was 13 years old, so it was from 2012 or 2013. Over 10 million points. Unbelievable. He lasted over 4 hours racking up 10 million points on Balloon Fight, which just incredible. Alright, we're closing in on 200,000 points, so off to a pretty good start. Haven't messed up any bonus rounds. And I believe after this one, we'll be at the bonus round, so nice to know that we have a round where we can pound the power punch block. Alright, over 200,000 points. At the bonus round, we get our power punch block back. It is a cold, snowy day here in New England. As good a day as any to stay inside, chase a score, maybe read a book. Did some reading earlier today. Feel like my mind is in a good place. Would really love to... You know, it's so funny. Like, when I fixate on something like getting a high score or whatever, like when I really wanted the 1,000,000 points in Balloon Fight. And that's what I mean, by the way, about having a good escape. Yeah, this board already giving us way more trouble than it ought. There we go. When the enemies start piling up, you know, just pull the emergency escape. Alright, closing in on 250,000. So we are a quarter of the way there. Have not yet lost our life. Our first life. Again, it's just about being consistent. Just coming in, knowing what you need to do, executing. If you make a mistake, being prepared to recover. Knowing which enemies to prioritize. I am by no means an expert at these bonus rounds. I will mess up one every 3 or 4 attempts. So it's quite possible that I mess up 1 or 2 throughout the course of this score chase. Also important not to get impatient with this game. The points will come. Again, consistency is what you need. Something else I love about this game is, aside from the methodical pacing, but also, there's no music. And I know that sounds kind of like a silly thing to love, but this is one of those games that feels like an old school video game. For those of you that remember, Angry Video Game Nerd did a video. I think he was talking about the old Atari games, but he talked about how some of those games didn't have music. Oh, we're over 300,000 points now. And that when you play a game like that, the best time to play it is at late at night when everyone's asleep, with just the sound of the crickets and chirping, the night sounds. There we go. That's what we love to do, to rack up the points. And since I'm talking about Cinemassacre, which I seem to do a lot, playing a black box score chaser, especially one like Mario Bros, this one always makes me think of the old Mike and Bootsy show, for anyone that remembers that. Because one of the things I remember about Mike and Bootsy is that they were pretty serious about playing the black box games. They played, let's see, they played Pinball, they played Ice Climbers, they played Balloon Fight, they played Donkey Kong Jr., and they also played Donkey Kong 3, so they were pretty serious about the old black box score chasers. Which was interesting, because you would have thought, well, Bootsy plays Silver Surfer and Battletoads, and he beats them. You'd think he would be playing, like, maybe something a little more hardcore, but no, it was pretty cool seeing him play some of those old score chasers. It just got me thinking, like, You know, they never... Two score chasers I would have liked to have seen them play are Clu Clu Land, and I think they did Popeye as well. But it would have been nice to see them do Clu Clu Land as well as Mario Bros. I would have been interested to hear what they had to say about those games. Okay, we're now over 350,000, so slowly but surely the points are adding up. We are making our way. We're over a third of the way there. I'll feel a little bit better if we can get to 500,000 without too much anarchy. Took a bit of a gamble there, but paid off. I knew that as long as I can make contact with the last flipped enemy, that I should be fine. And it's weird, like, I feel like, you know, when I have a goal, like getting 1,000,000 points, I cannot move on until I reach that goal. Like, right now, I'm thinking about how I can't wait to do score chasing on Clu Clu Land and Donkey Kong Jr., but I know that there's no point in even trying, even starting, until I've achieved my 1,000,000 point game here on Mario Bros. It's just going to sit in my mind until I get it. Getting a little bit too bold with those risky jumps. And if this looks boring, like I'm doing the same thing over and over, I apologize. I'm not trying to make it look boring. I am having a tremendous amount of fun. Oh, there's the first life. I knew I was going to drop it there. Okay, so now we are over 400,000. So lost 1 life. Would have liked to have gotten all the way to 500,000 before losing the first life, but that's okay. It's my fault. I was starting to take too many risks. That's my cue to play a bit more conservatively. One of the worst mistakes you can make is you hit the POW block during the bonus round. 1, because you lose time and you're probably not going to get the bonus, but 2, losing a POW punch over the course of, whatever it is, 4 phases or a board or whatever you want to call it. You set yourself up at a real disadvantage. That was a bit of a hectic board. As you can see, we had to make quite a few improvised moves. We were able to get through it. I was very close to just pulling the trigger on hitting the POW block again. Like right now, I can already tell this board's gonna give me trouble. Not sure if I'm just off rhythm or if the game is getting a little bit tighter on me, but either way, you don't want to be baited into playing aggressively. You know, just stay composed. All right, just about to the 500,000 point mark. All right, I got a little lucky on that, but we are now over 500,000 points. 50 phases in. Probably about 50 phases if we're fortunate enough to still be on pace to get that 1,000,000 point game. Just trying to get out of this round quickly before disaster strikes with the ice and the fireballs. Never want to linger too much on a board, even if it's just one enemy and you feel like you got under control. It's just a smart move to get through it as quickly as possible. I don't know why. I always try to jump in front of the scoreboard, try to cover up some of the digits. It's just funny. Pointless, but funny. There we go, a nice clean board. Could have been a little bit cleaner. Always like when we can do that. Bump the enemy. So that the fireball does, or so that the ice ball, or whatever you want to call it, doesn't make it off the top. It's tricky to pull off. I don't pull it off very often, but I always get that warm, fuzzy feeling when I can. Another risky move. When I start making all these risky moves, I know it's time to pull it back a little bit, play a little safer. Having good luck with the bonus rounds so far, closing it on 600,000. So bring us to about 589, I think. Just under 590,000. So a couple boards away from 600,000. Alright, now we've crossed over the 600,000 point mark. Feeling pretty good. Have 3 lives. Just need to stay consistent. I can already tell this board's going to be giving me trouble. I knew that was going to happen. So obviously everybody knows Super Mario Bros. Mario Bros. Is just not much talked about. Obviously it's the original. It predates, and there's going to be the argument. Well, Donkey Kong was the first Mario game. Donkey Kong came first. Sure, I get that. But minus Donkey Kong, where the Mario character is unnamed, Mario Bros. Really like the first. Oops. I hate when that happens. Yeah, Mario Bros. Like the first Mario game where he's named, so I just think it's kind of cool to be able to, if I can clutch through for the next, I don't know, 45 minutes or whatever, get that million-point game. Now, I'm obviously using that very generous edge clip quite a bit. That is a technique you absolutely have to master. Alright, and after a risky move like that, I just know it's time to slow it down, play a little more conservatively, lest our luck run out. And I'm sure the pros can stack 3 consistently I can't do that. I very rarely... I'm okay at stacking 2, but stacking 3 I don't do all that often. Like, how many of you would have liked to have seen Mike and Bootsy playing 2-player Mario Bros. And, you know, going after each other's scores or whatever? All right, 700,000. So it looks like, basically, every 10 rounds I'm getting 10,000 points. I think that's a fair law of averages. And based on that, we are going to get to phase 99 or 100 or 101. When we finally, if and when we finally get over 1 million. So it'll be cool. I would love to see what happens after phase 99. I think anyone that owned this game, and if you did own this game, feel free always to tell me, what did you think of this game as it was part of your original NES library? Get rid of him before he gives us any more trouble. Alright, 750,000. So if we're going to get to 1,000,000, we are 3/4 of the way there. Still a long, long way to go. Alright, this guy's giving us a little bit of trouble. No more. We did lose some points on that phase because of the missing coins, but that's okay. It's, it's like in any other game, do you risk going for the points, the coin? Like I know in my 1,000,000-point game of Balloon Fight, I'm not going after every bubble. And one thing I've noticed is that when I do lose a life, I do tend to kind of seize up. Like, it's unfamiliar to me to start a board from the very top. You only do that after you lose a life. So it's not uncommon for me after I lose a life to follow it up by immediately blowing another life. Alright, closing in on 800,000. We're going to be at, what, 795? It's 13,000 points, or I'm sorry, yeah. 13,000 points for every bonus round. 5,000 for the perfect bonus, and 8,000 for all the coins. So, closing in on 800,000. We should have it by the end of this phase. Okay, we're over 800,000, so high score, very close to being within reach. 1,000,000 points, possible. Maybe a few quick shout-outs. Always nice to leave a nice message in part of such a memorable video. So let's shout out our pals. Rocket Cat Reviews. Love his content. He does fantastic long-form content, which is a dying art. The Vintage Gamer. Also, excellent content. Who else? NES Addict. Love watching his stuff. Oh, that's that mistake I was talking about. Do I still have enough time to get the bonus? I can salvage. Okay, so we still have enough time to get the bonus. We're going to be operating without as much of the POW block, but that's fine. As long as we play conservatively, shouldn't be an issue, but kind of a sloppy mistake to make this late. By the way, we are now officially over my high score. $850,000. I like to break it up into 50,000 point chunks, so now we can start thinking about clawing our way up to 900,000. Did James and Mike ever play this on James and Mike Mondays? I want to say they did. If they didn't, it's really a horribly wasted opportunity. Alright, I think we're coming up on another bonus round, so we can afford to not be shy about using the POW punch. Alright, this will bring us closer to 900,000. Been fortunate so far in the bonus rounds. Haven't blown one yet, which is always a good sign. When you blow a bonus round and you don't get all the coins, you miss out on that 5,000 point bonus. You just feel like, ugh. Like that score that you're trying to get is just slipping further and further away. Oof. So blew a jump there. Now we have 2 lives. And you know what? Whoa. We just want this to be done as quickly as possible. Alright, 900,000, 2 lives left to get that 1,000,000 points. Just gotta stay focused, stay calm, play conservatively. The points will come. That's what I keep telling myself. The points will come. I'm trying to trick myself that this is my last life, because I really don't want to actually rely on my last life for getting the 1,000,000 points. Just trying to clutch up, finish these last few boards, playing smart. The points will come. one with the Koopas. I'm sure I could play it better, but for now, my timing seems a bit off on that one. So I recently watched the documentary about the old score chasers from the early 1980s. It was called Chasing Ghosts. I believe it was the documentary that was intended when they were filming The King of Kong: A Fistful of Quarters. But then when they met Steve Wiebe and heard about what he was going through trying to get his score recognized, they decided that story was much more compelling. They decided to do that one instead. So then they decided to actually follow through. I think that it was after they did King of Kong: A Fistful of Quarters that they did finally go back and use that footage and maybe complete what was left for doing the Chasing Ghosts, which was about basically everyone that was part of that Lifetime magazine shoot about the gamers that they considered to be the Twin Galaxies thought was the world champions back in 1982 or whatever. It was an interesting documentary. They did their best to kind of flatter them, but at the same time, kind of not flatter them, if that makes any sense. Because, to be frank, some of them do not appear as though they've covered themselves in glory since that Life magazine shoot. Like, I can understand that it would be a big deal for you in your life, but I don't know. Just considering the way that some of them turned out or the way they've acted. Alright, but enough insulting. Right now, it's time to feel good because we are about to break 1,000,000 points in Mario Bros. A goal I've been chasing for not too long. There it is. We are now over the 1,000,000 point mark. Whatever we get after this is just gravy. We still got 2 lives left. We're going to keep going. Phase 0, so it rolls over to Phase 0. Okay. Mystery solved. It's actually Phase 100. But I can now proudly say that I have gotten 1,000,000 points in the very first Mario Bros. Game. Oh, and then it starts over, Phase 1. It gave us that ditty all over again. Kinda cool. So we have officially rolled over Mario Bros. Very happy to finally be able to put this on my channel. And I always think of that quote from Walter Day, you know, if you can get at any point you get past your last best score represents, for you to get a single point higher, represents a tremendous increase in skill. And it does appear as though the game is giving us a reprieve from the ice enemies. They'll probably almost spawned right, almost walked right to where the fireball was spawning. So now that we have the ice, so we'll probably get the ice enemies. Does this mean that the POW block isn't coming back? Not the end of the world, but I will feel a bit naked without having... Oh yeah, it looks like after phase 99, they take away the POW block. Once it's gone, it's gone. That is an interesting challenge. Still no ice enemies though. I imagine they will come back soon. But we are still going strong. We're still having a good time. Still very much having fun. Ugh, misjudged his trajectory. And did they take away bonus rounds? So no POW block, no bonus rounds, but no ice enemies. Interesting. Life after phase 100 is it's actually easier. And the most satisfying part of this... Oh, okay, so it spaces it out twice as long. So we do get our POW block back. Now, is it gonna... I think now it's going to introduce the ice enemies, now that we're over Phase 8. But, like I was saying, the most satisfying feeling about this, of course, aside from the fact that... Yep, here come the ice enemies. That we got 1,000,000 points on such a great score chaser. But also that we can move on now. We can try score chasing some other games. I don't believe I'm going to be getting 1,000,000 points in a game like Donkey Kong 3 or Clu Clu Land, but... or Popeye, but it'll be fun to start, like, setting new goals. Like, my high scores in some of those games is pretty low. My high score in, like, Popeye is only, I think, 100,000 or maybe 200,000, somewhere in that range. It'll be nice to try to push it higher. And don't look now, but we are gonna go over $1,100,000. So we're not just going over 1,000,000, we're going well over 1,000,000. I am glad I got past to phase 109, so I got to see that, yes, you do get the ice enemies, and yes, you do get your power block back. I am kicking this game's butt. Look at this. Oh. Not gonna have enough time. Yes. To say I'm having my best game would be an understatement. I am doing a lot better than I normally do. Oops. Yeah, like I said. Okay, that's fine. So let's go ahead and reset. Put our new high score down. Phase 115. We'll put that old score in the trash. And what was the score? 1,146,150 points. Excellent. Excellent all around. Super excited. Finally broke the 1,000,000 point mark. Went at it for over an hour and a half before getting careless and just kind of giving up at the end. No big deal. Now we can start thinking about some new high scores to set. So thanks for checking it out, and we'll play some more games soon.